Hello, everyone. We're back with another episode with our Outcast podcast.
Yay!
Everyone, can you please reintroduce yourselves?
I'm Gabby.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Chris. And we're back with another Freakonomics discussion. Isn't that so exciting?
So exciting. I'm so excited.
Okay, so our question for today is social media. I'm pretty sure all of you guys know social media, right?
Yeah.
Do we not?
I use it.
What platforms do you guys use?
I use Instagram mostly. I don't really use any
me
others.
too. Oh,
Next
and
is
Snapchat.
TikTok?
And Snapchat.
Does
Renegade.
YouTube count as one?
To an
Yeah.
extent, I guess. 'Cause
Okay.
I think that there's a lot in common with our social media that we use in day-to-day life because, we have this concept of just, like, seeing other people's lives and then we are like, oh, like, or there's no dislike option on Instagram, right?
No.
No, there isn't. So,
But you can't really prevent hate comments either.
but then again, social media does have a lot of effect on people just because it's social media. You're connecting with people. Have you guys had any experiences that may have led you to more negative or positive mind? Yeah, it could be two sides of the same coin. It could be a negative thing or it could be a positive thing.
I guess it can be both. Like, so far, I've had positive experiences, except for, like, one time in the 6th grade where I had a crush on this one guy, and my friends decided to make a whole, like, Facebook account of, like, me saying, I'm not gonna name him, but, like, oh, I'm so in love with him and stuff. So I guess that was, like, cyberbullying, but being a 6th grader, I was just really sad and upset because basically the whole school knew because all my friends were friended.
So bad.
What a bunch of snakes.
God.
Did
He bought them.
you guys had a lot of like really stupid drama?
Yeah.
Like there's this one time where like didn't someone like have racist comments on social media and that was
Yeah. That was on Snapchat, yeah.
really?
Really?
It was even on yours. Wow.
I don't remember that, but
I don't
Yeah,
want to
me
name
neither.
names. So, the thing about social media, right, is that it has a lot of impact on us. And that could be a lot of there's some statistics on it. Let me pull it up real quick so that we all can look at it. I know that whoever's hearing this, you can't see what we're looking at, but you know what? It's here in your spirit and you can just imagine that you're looking at it.
other than that, do you want to bring up cancel culture?
Cancel culture.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys know what cancel culture is?
No.
Yeah, what is cancel
I
culture?
really don't.
So basically, the definition of canceling is to basically, when you call someone out, right, and then you completely shut them down, and you don't tolerate like say someone did something really bad, and then you call them out like, oh, you're canceled. So it's basically like ignoring them, like complete ignorance.
And like everyone would like unfollow
Yeah.
and stuff too.
Isn't it
that's
kind of
tough.
like
They don't give them a chance.
I really wants to fight me?
What are your opinions? Do you think that cancel culture is as good or as bad as we might imply it to be?
I think that sometimes, like, even though cancel culture, if you were to compare it in like a negative way, it's kind of like what is it? A witch hunt, like in the Crucible, like where like everyone just kind of like jumps on this one person and it's like, oh, gotcha, for like their mistakes. But if you were look at it in a positive light, maybe for people, I think it's a good way for people to like get repercussions for like what they're doing. So like, I don't know if you guys know Little Huddy or like Chase Hudson.
Yeah.
Said the N-word and then like everybody was like, oh, cancel him. And some people thought that was like really bad, but again, I think that the N-word or like racial slurs shouldn't be
Yeah, no
like,
excuse.
normalized. Yeah, and it just allows them to be more considerate about what they're saying, but I still get how it could be like really harmful to someone's health.
Yeah, because at the same time though, if you do cancel someone and that like maybe like there's this particular mukbanger, I'm not gonna say who it is because it's currently still happening. But anyways, he got canceled and because he kept making all these wild accusations and lies, and the only way to really shut someone down like that is to completely can't end them because they're not gonna stop. They're just gonna keep going with what they're doing.
Mhm.
So there's definitely two sides of the coin to this. Okay, so how would we relate this back to Freakonomics? Because there is this chapter,
Chapter 4
chapter
about correlation
causation, right?
and causation, but correlation does not imply causation.
Is there any is there any correlations that we can find on social media?
One strong correlation that people think about in their lives is like if you have a lot of followers on Instagram, you generally have more friends in real life as well. But this is just a correlation factor and not direct causation, because just because you have like let's say 5,000 followers on Instagram, that doesn't mean you have more friends than someone who doesn't own social media. So there's no direct causation and like direct explanation for it. There's just a correlation.
Yeah,
There's-
and not everyone knows all their followers in real life. So.
There's actually a study on this that reveals that people who use social media or who limit their social media actually feel better after the 3-week period. And from that, we can see that social media is linked to depression. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, in 7th grade and 8th grade, I was actually always on my phone. Like, I don't think you would ever see me without my phone or not scrolling on Instagram. And I'm kind of proud to say this, but ever since, I guess, high school started, my screen time every day is only like 30 minutes or less. Most of the time, I barely ever use my phone. And it's true. I feel like, personally, I am happier because I have time to find, like, my own hobbies, talk to my friends more. And personally, for me, it makes me feel happier, but I feel like for some people, it's just like an addiction to them. Like, they can't get off their phone.
I did remember that there was something in psychology because like is like a reward system, then it works in the brain, and then since we're so sensitive in our teen years, we tend to like gain a better attraction to likes because it increases our dopamine? Yeah, our dopamine level, and that in turn causes an addiction because our brains are still developing.
Oh, to social media?
Yeah,
Okay.
because when you get likes, you get like social affirmation or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, in psychology, they relate mental like stress they relate it to like actual physical pain, because for example, if someone's getting bullied on social media and like people are putting a lot of hate comments on their things and like sending them mean messages, that is just as bad as like physical pain, according to AP Psychology.
And social media just has a really big impact on our lives because we have like Twitter. Twitter.
Oh no.
Twitter. So Twitter actually has a trending system, and oftentimes there could be a lot of hate trends or something along those lines that go against a single person. Like I know when James Charles got canceled, it trended like immediately, right?
Yeah.
Like whoa, James Charles is canceled party, or James party is over party, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Do you remember what he did, though?
happened? Yeah, what happened?
So what he did was he was allegedly accused of being a sexual predator, and then Tati Westbrook basically exposed him.
Yeah.
But the reality was that James Charles was innocent in that situation, and he was
okay.
able to repel those allegations.
So and then people started canceling Tati.
Yeah, but at the same time, why is it that so many people just decide to see James Charles as a threat right away instead of waiting to hear his story?
Okay, so this relates to the chapter 5 concepts of emotion not being the same as rational thought, as well as risk equaling hazard plus outrage. So cancel culture is a really like big event, and it happens really quickly. So this relates to the immediacy factor, because when it happens really quickly, and it spreads really quickly, and it tells people they need to follow along like right now. Also, the fact that the familiarity factor, the fact that people's friends are doing it and people they know are doing it, also increases the risk, because it increases the outrage.
Wait a second.
Wait,
I thought
what the fuck I'm saying.
familiarity factor is
No, you could say like someone who's not familiar with the thing will jump onto the bandwagon like that. This
not
person
familiar,
is bad.
not familiar with the situation.
Yeah, they're not familiar. So that way it would increase outrage and then increase the rest of that person.
So we can relate that back to the whole James Charles and cancel James Charles incident, where you said familiarity factor is when people jump on it because they don't have that much information on it, right?
Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah.
And the whole reason why everyone was like, oh, cancel James was because Tati was the first to accuse, and because of that, I guess they listened more to her side of the story than James, and that's why everyone was kind of just like attacking him because they didn't really know like what happened behind the scenes.
You can also throw in that a lot of people, they also do their own research or wait for the other side. So because, I guess it's not because they're unfamiliar, it's because they choose to be unfamiliar. They just decide to go with the bandwagon at the moment.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I did. I didn't want to watch Tati's 45-minute video and James Charles' apology video. So, but I don't know. I just knew everyone was canceling him, and so I was just like, oh, okay. But
Sorry.
social media has a big influence, you know?
Not to mention this overall factor that like Tati accused James of being a sexual predator. That's alarming, right?
Yeah.
When you think sexual, you think something sexual, and when you think predator, you think something bad, right? Like,
Yes,
oh
I would
no.
hope so. The
Wait, which one's? The literal meaning is denotation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the denotations.
Yeah.
And we don't need to just apply this to overall cancel culture. We can apply it to all aspects of the world, because fear mongering is definitely a thing. Like Twitter's trending system is literally the whole concept of outrage and risk.
And like a huge aspect of just persuading people in general, and like people creating arguments has to do with risk and hazard plus outrage.
And I guess it's and
don't fight him.
like another trending topic recently was the coronavirus, and like I know everyone's talking about it. Oh my god, what a boring topic! I'm sorry, but
Yeah, and I
You
guess that people think that it's okay to use that as an excuse to be like racist towards Asian people. Because I know whenever I cough now, there's always a person who looks at me like, what? Or like they'll whisper or say to me like coronavirus, and it's just like, that counts as microaggression.
yeah, it is microaggression because I guess the same thing happened back then when yellow fever was a thing. You know, because they were like, oh, Asian yellow, you're yellow fever.
So although racism is like a huge situation that goes on all the time, you can counteract it because social media companies such as like Instagram, Snapchat, and like Facebook and stuff, they're all updating their terms and conditions and their privacy and all their guidelines to make it like so racism and hateful comments and all those things are unable to be present in the social media world.
But at the same time, doesn't that promote it?
Yeah, like social media, it's so, like when people use it, it like normalizes racial slurs and like how it's okay to act that way.
Because you use it under the guise of anonymity.
Anonymity.
This is true, however,
Anonymity.
Being anonymous.
although these may be true, like as time keeps progressing, companies and like people in general are just trying to spread more awareness of why it is not good. And like I think there's been statistically speaking, there's been a decline in the amount of racism because of the fact that the guidelines erase it out of the system, but also because it is not a socially accepted behavior anymore like it was, say, like 10 years ago.
But people still do it.
Yeah. Of course, it will like be present for a long, long time. It's just as years progress, it's decreasing, which is, I'd say, a good thing.
So, in conclusion, would you say that social media is a good or a bad thing?
I think social media is it's good and bad. It's a good way to keep up with people you know and to like talk to people you know, and also like and other people that you don't get to see often. But at the same time, it's not good because it really takes a toll on some people's mental health as well as take a huge chunk of people's time out of their day. So social media is a good thing to have, but at the same time, there should be limitations on it.
Definitely. All right, I think that's the end of our podcast today.